This movie has sort of a bad reputation, which I find pretty amusing. It seems the Tomb Raider games at the time were almost universally beloved, and even though it seems people have gotten over Tomb Raider by now, there's a hefty amount of nostalgia for the series, even though as far as I'm concerned, the games aren't very good at all. They have a good concept, but they're executed horribly with dull graphics, insanely bad controls, and a general stagnation from sequel to sequel. That being said, I don't get what the big deal about this movie is, as when I saw it, I found it to be a highly entertaining, if not terribly intelligent, movie. The story follows Lara Croft, a British woman of some nobility who is also an archaeologist, but not a boring archaeologist like in real life, a kick-ass twin-pistol-toting, booty-shorts-wearing, adventure-having archaeologist, sort of the female equivalent to Indiana Jones. Laura is played by Angelina Jolie, who steps into the role pretty well, complete with the huge chest and swollen lips that come along with it. The plot revolves around a planetary alignment that only happens once every 5,000 years. Laura finds a clock hidden in her mansion which starts ticking the very first day of the alignment. Within the clock, she finds a key, which is also another clock counting down to a certain time when the alignment ends. She takes the clock to an expert who tells her of another person who might be interested, but she doesn't trust this second person, so she only brings photographs. He's got a bit of a clock fetish, and he knows a lot more about the nature of the artifact than he lets on. He sends some goons to Lara's house to steal the clock. Along the way, there's a rival Tomb Raider played by Daniel Craig, who has sort of a friendly rivalry with Lara Croft. The clock was left by Lara's missing father, played by Angelina Jolie's real-life father, John Voight, who in secret messages left to his daughter reveals that the clock is the key to restoring two pieces of a triangle, which if put together can give the person who possesses it ultimate power. Yeah, kind of like that one episode of South Park. Anyway, there's a big race to see who can get it first, and there's the prerequisite globe-trotting, action, betrayals, and even a bit of that Indiana Jones mysticism when Lara Croft uses the triangles to reverse time and save her rival from being killed by turning a throwing knife around as it's suspended in time. For all its trappings, it's not terribly smart, but that's not the sort of movie that it's trying to be. It's good old-fashioned dumb fun, and the movie was a lot of fun. There are things that don't really necessarily work. I found Lara's techie sidekick and his robot assistant to be more of an annoyance than anything, but the movie is free of pretension. The first two scenes, it tells you what it's about. First you have an action scene with Lara fighting a giant robot, and then you have a shower scene. It's violence and sex appeal, and it's not looking to win any Oscars. To this day, I still find Tomb Raider to be highly entertaining, and I can't help but wonder if the people who hated it were purists for the video games or just film snobs in general. Or more realistically, maybe a mixture of both. But for what it does, Tomb Raider does very little wrong and a whole lot right. When I finished watching it for this review, I said to myself, still a good movie. And yes, good is the word I'd use to describe it. Not great, but definitely good, and thus I'll give it a 7 out of a possible 10.